Hey, coaches, welcome to Championship Culture. Got a good one for you tonight. Jim Bob Bryant is the head football coach at North Augusta High School. This is his first year there in South Carolina. But Jim Bob is a legend in North Carolina. Won 3 state championships as a head coach, another one as an assistant coach, and now he's going to make some real money. So, Coach, we sure appreciate you being here and can't wait to steal your ideas. I know you sent me a bunch of stuff in the email, and I know you really get after it in your culture game. So, looking forward to picking your brain and stealing your ideas, buddy.
Well, I appreciate you having me. I'm excited to be on.
Awesome. All right. Well, can you start us off? First question, can you give us a 1-minute elevator introduction?
All right. My name is Jim Bob Bryant. I'm from a small town in eastern North Carolina called Williamston. I played football, baseball, and basketball there. I played for Harold Robinson. Went to Guilford College, played there for 2 years, transferred to East Carolina, finished up at East Carolina, came back to Williamston and was the OC there for 6 years for Harold. Got to coach for the guy that I played for. Learned a lot of football from Harold Robinson and Herbie Rogers. We won the '99 state championship and then played in 2001 and 2002 and lost. Then I took my first head job at Green Central High School. Went there for 5 years, won 3 conference championships, made it to the 3rd round once. Then Havelock reached out to me about their job, and Jeff Murphy was my principal there. Great principal, as good a principal as I've ever had. Helped me put together a great staff. And we were 118-16 there over 9 years and won 3 state championships, played for 4, played in the Eastern Finals 7 times. But was blessed there, had really good support from an administrative level, really good coaches. He allowed me to put together a really good staff, and we had really good players. Then our county was in the hole 3.8 million. So, the first thing they cut is athletics. And I was looking at 20 years in North Carolina and not making a lot of money. So I took a job in the western part of the state, went there, and things that I was told to come there didn't quite pan out the way they had told me. So I got offered a job in Georgia. Went to Georgia, 7A football at North Paulding. 3 teams in our conference for preseason ranked top 50 in the country. So if you wanted some competition, here you go. I stayed there for 2 years, was happy there. Planned on staying there for as long as they would have me. Then my defensive coordinator lost his dad during the season, and he lived in Florida, and he didn't get a chance to go see him before he passed away. And my dad hadn't been doing great, so I was 8.5 hours from home. So North Augusta came open, reached out to me. I interviewed for the job, and that puts me 4.5 hours closer to home. And it's a really great football situation here too. We just finished building a $21 million training facility. I got to design my own weight room, locker room, training room. We've got an indoor track, competition gym, auxiliary gym. Had Jeff Chapman, used to coach at West Rowan, came down, did all my storage and stuff for me. Top of the line storage stuff that he did, and just a great football situation here. And again, fell into a great situation where we've got a chance to have some really good players here. And the principal, John Murphy, and our Booster Club president, Brad Silverhoose, were instrumental in getting me here and helping me put together a great staff. I've got a great wife, Mary Candace, my soulmate. My coach has traveled with me for 11 years. Chris Crow, his wife, introduced us years ago. I got 2 sons, Charlie and Cole. I've got 2 dogs, Coach and Jerry Seinfeld. And we just closed on our house last Tuesday. So my plan is to be at North Augusta for a while, and hopefully we can build something here.
How old are your boys now?
One's 19 and one's 20.
Awesome. Well, that's awesome, Coach. It sounds like, I know it was probably not too fun coming in on the COVID year to get things started, but it sounds like you got the foundation for an exciting future.
Yeah, we're excited about it. Like I said, the COVID season was tough. I was here for 5 weeks in the spring, and then they sent us home. And I was like, well, we'll be home for a week, then we'll be back. Oh, we'll be home for 2 weeks. We'll be back. The next thing you know, we're doing Zoom meetings for 3 months. So, but God was good to us and allowed us to get through the season without any major disruptions in our program. So we're excited about that.
Awesome. Well, let's jump into it.
Right.
And I know you sent me a lot of good information. I'm going to steal all of that, but can you give your definition? How do you define culture in your program?
So we tell our kids, we meet every day when we get done working out. We've got a big NA in the middle of our weight room floor. And we've got patricians around it where nobody can step on the NA. Kind of stole that from Ohio State. But we all put our fist in, and I ask them all. I said, "What is our culture?" And every one of them say, "Eat." And I say, "What is our culture?" Eat. So our culture is eat, effort, accountability, and toughness. And we tell our kids that that's biblical. So 2 Thessalonians 3:10 says, "The man who is unwilling to work shall not eat." So we tell our kids if they don't work Monday through Thursday, they don't get a chance to eat on Friday. Uh, and along with that effort, accountability, and toughness, then the biggest thing that we have in our program is everything we do is a competition. We tell our kids that everything in life is a competition, from getting a good job to starting on a basketball team, football team, going to college. All of that stuff's a competition. So treat it as such, and even finding the right girl as a competition. So we tell our kids that. So that's how we define culture is effort, accountability, and toughness. And then what we hang our hat on here is competition and love. I tell my players every game when we line up for the national anthem, right before they do it, we line up on the sideline or on the goal line, and I walk by every game pregame, and I hug every one of them and tell them I love them. And I think that's important. I wouldn't be where I am now without the dad and the mom that I had, but also with my coaches along the way.
That's awesome, man. Awesome. All right. Question number 3. Now we're looking to steal your ideas, man. What are the 3 best things you do to build culture in your program? And it sounds like the one of them was hugging your kids before the national anthem. That's pretty dang strong. You got anything else that we could steal from you?
Yeah, our culture here is eat, but then each year I tell them we have a subculture for that year. So we have a different mantra for each year. And going into this season, our colors are black and gold. So our mantra this season is G for G, which is grind for the gold. So we finish every day in the weight room with a competition. So we have our kids broken down into 3 groups. We have an O-line, D-line group, a combo group, and a skill group. So every day in the weight room, when we get done, we take the last 10 minutes and we do some kind of competition, whether it's a bench rep competition by position groups, hang clean, repetition, power clean max, vertical jump, shuttle run, medicine ball toss, something competitive every day to teach these kids how to compete. And at the end of each day, the guy that wins the O-line, D-line group and combo and skill group, when they come back in the weight room the next day, they all get a gold strength and conditioning t-shirt that they wear in the weight room that day. When our kids come in the weight room, we check out some. We're in Adidas school now. I've never been in Adidas school, always been Under Armour, but so when they come in, we give them a white weightlifting t-shirt with North Augusta Strength and Conditioning and black weightlifting shorts. So we all look the same in the weight room. Once we get back 100% attendance, we're gonna do that. Right now, we're only on 50% attendance. So, and those kids wear white shirts and black shorts every day in the weight room. If they win their competition, the next day, those 3 guys that won their competition, the line, combo, and skill, they wear a gold shirt in the weight room to show everybody they won the day before competition. We also do that at practice. So each day at practice, we start practice with a different competition, good on good. Most of the time when we're in practice, if your backups on or your starters on defense, or most of the time your backups on offense, and vice versa. If you're trying to 2 platoon as much as you can, so rarely do we get to go good on good in practice because our first team offense and second team offense is going against a scout team defense, and vice versa when we're on defense. So the first 10 minutes of practice every day, Monday, we call it Man Monday. It's one-on-one goal line passing, receivers versus corners, slots and tight ends versus safeties, running backs versus outside linebackers. And, without the COVID shortened season, God willing, we won't be there next year, but we started every practice with that competition, but we would typically keep score. between offense and defense. And then the O-line, D-line, they do one-on-one board drills on Monday. And then we keep those total points of offense versus defense, and we run that through the whole week. Tuesday is Tackle Tuesday. We go from the 5-yard line, 3-yard line, and we do 2-on-2, 3-on-3 Oklahoma drills, good on good during those days, 10-minute period. Taking kids to the ground, but quick whistles. We don't want anybody to get rolled up on. And that's offense versus defense again. Then Wednesday is Win Wednesday. Win Wednesday is we do third down situations. So starting offense, we'll have the ball third and 4 from the left hash, 3rd and 4 from the middle, 3rd and 4 from the right. Then we go 3rd and 6, same scenario. Then 3rd and 8. So we get 9 plays. 3rd and 4, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 8 to go against our starting defense, regardless of what defense or offense we're playing that week. Our defense bases out of 3-4, and we're 11, 12, 10 personnel team. So we run our stuff versus our guys just for that competition. At the end of that week, we keep those points, and the team that wins, whether it's offense or defense, or each day the team that wins, when they come out to practice on Tuesday, if the defense beats us on Monday, we have gold practice jerseys, mesh practice jerseys. We don't put numbers on our practice jerseys. So when the kids bring them in and they check them in, we throw them in the wash. When they come out the next day, we've got a trash can there with all the jerseys, and they just grab one out. And if you're on the defensive team that won on Monday, all of those guys wearing gold jerseys at practice on Tuesday. And then if the offense wins on Tuesday, then we wash their jersey, wash everybody's jerseys for them. And then on Wednesday, the offense comes to practice and they're wearing gold jerseys to signify that they won the competition that day. That's something that we've always done. We haven't done the jersey thing until this year because we've been blessed with a really good booster club that's allowed us to get some things that we needed and wanted. And we also do competition during the summer. And during the spring. So we start our spring workouts February 1st, which will be next Monday. They can only lift 2 days a week with us at school right now, but we'll bring the kids in the mornings. If they're here on Monday and Tuesday to lift with us in class, we're bringing them in on Wednesday and Thursday to lift at 7 a.m. Before school. They go from 7 to 8:15. We chart everything, who's here, who's not, and that goes back to accountability piece. And then a week before we do a draft, we do the JFL draft. We call it the Jacket for Life draft. We let all of our players that grade out at a 90 or above during the spring leading up to that. 90 or above, meaning they've made 90% of all of their spring install days, 90% of all of their workout days. Then those guys get to vote on 6 captains. Those 6 captains then get a chance to draft 6 teams. When we do a draft, and we do it here, we're going to do it at a local church, got a really big auditorium. We do huddle highlights for the first round draft choices for all the kids. We put all the kids in groups. We group them in, we have a line group, we have a skill group, and a combo group. So if I'm a captain and I'm a skill player and I'm drafting in the first round, I have to draft a combo and a lineman in that group. So it kind of keeps the teams even. So every round you have to draft a skill player, a combo, and an O-line, D-lineman in that group. And they have draft scores beside their name. We got that from Madden, from the video game, because we know these kids are so visual with video games and screens in front of them. And they all, on the Madden, they've got their player profile ratings. So we give them a draft score rating. And, this year with COVID, I didn't have them during the spring. So that's all right. So what can we do to make this competitive, to give them a score? So we did 4 installs a week for offense, 4 installs a week for defense, for an hour each install through Zoom meetings. And you had to go to 2. So we had a quarterback meeting, a running back meeting, a wide receiver meeting, and a line meeting for offense, 4 different meetings. If you're a lineman and you came to the offensive line meeting, you got 40 points for that meeting. If you're a defensive lineman and you came to the defensive line meeting on Wednesday, you got another 40 points. And then I would send out challenges to the kids through GroupMe messages and Twitter. And if they sent me a video just showing me that they did that, tried to do the challenge, hey guys, I'm gonna do. So I showed them. I did the workout in front of them on Twitter one night. It almost killed me, but I did kettlebell swings, 6 sets of 10, 6 sets of 10 push-ups, 6 sets of 10 front squats, kettlebell, and then 6 sets of 10 up downs. And if the kids sent me at least one set of that, then they got another 20 points for that week. So their draft score for that week was 100. So at the end of that, when we went to the draft, each one of those captains and each kid in the program could tell if this kid's going to be accountable or not, because they could look at that draft score. And if he's got a 50, then, hey, this kid ain't doing everything he needs to do to help our team win. So he fell down in the draft. So, we do that for the draft. If you draft a kid first round, he comes up to the stage. We hold a North Augusta #1 jersey, take his picture, put it on our social media. He stands with the captain. All the kids are in suit and tie. They're calling each other on a cell phone, asking, "Hey, man, I'm gonna draft you. You gonna be at the meetings?" And it's really cool. The kids love it. This is the first year I had to do it through a Zoom meeting, so it was a little different. But hopefully we'll get back to normal and be able to do a regular draft next year. And then once those teams are drafted, they compete for points every day for the rest of the spring and spring practice, and all through the summer. So the first piece is the accountability piece. So if I'm a captain on a team, I start every day with 100 points. If you're one of my players on my team and you don't show up one day, you're costing me 20 points that day. You're costing your team 20 points. So that team starts the day with an 80 average. If they come late, it costs them 10 points. And then we do team competitions at the end, whether it's a team sled drive, a medicine ball toss, an obstacle course, something football related at the end of that summer and spring workout, where each team can get an additional 100 points. So if they win the competition, they get an additional 100 points for that day. Second place gets 80, third place gets 60, fourth place gets 40, fifth place gets 20. The last place team that day has to clean the field and clean the locker room. So we do that all through the summer. And then at the end of the summer, the team with the 2 captains with the most points, they remain captains for the rest of the year. And the other 4 go back to the general population of the team. And then we select 2 new captains to go along with those 2 each week based on what those 2 guys did that week at practice. The winning team gets a winning T-shirt, an elite, we call it the Elite 11 championship T-shirt. We normally have a pool party at my house. That was scratched this year. We normally have a pizza party and food, and my wife goes out and buys those candy rings, and we have a ring ceremony for the kids. They get a ring at the ceremony there, and they get to hang out for a few hours and shoot pool at our place and go to the pool and eat and all of that kind of stuff. So our kids really enjoy that, and have gotten a lot out of it, and it also teaches them to compete, but it also teaches the guys on the team who they can count on and who they can't count on. We also do Bobby Bowden and Mark Rick wrote the foreword for a book called Proverbs for Football. It's a daily devotional from August 1 all the way through the state championship game. It's a proverb out of the Bible, and then they tell a football story dealing with that proverb. And I read that to our kids every day after practice. One day when I was at Havelock, and I forgot to read it one day because we had a bad practice, and I was pretty ticked at the end of practice. So I didn't think about reading the proverb, and I was getting ready to break it down. And my little center said, "Coach, ain't you gonna read us a story today?" I said, "Read your story? What are you talking about?" He said, "I like those stories, Coach. You don't ever know if kids are listening when you do that." But I was like, you're exactly right. So I went and got the book, came back and read it, and had to ask for forgiveness for a few 4-letter words I used that day at practice. But that's something else that we do to help build our culture. And also my big thing is to build the character of the man first, and then build the player. Something else that I stole from 2 high school coaches in Texas. They put out a book called A Football Journey. It is a character development book. I've got all 4 volumes. They've got like 22 lessons in each book. Each one, some of them, and I read that to them. We do that on Friday. When we're in school, we have a game day that day. We lift on game days. And once we lift, then I bring out the book and I read one of those character development lessons, and it can be anything from, the dangers of drugs and alcohol at a young age, how to treat women, how to track your grades, the difference between a scholarship and a walk-on player. And you read that to them, and it's got a story about it, and then it's got pointed questions that you ask. And I get my assistant coaches to come in and read. I get them to pick one out that they can relate to and read to the kids. And then we try to interject personal stories dealing with that particular character development lesson to our kids. And then we let the kids, if they want to answer some of the questions that we ask, and then we let them kind of chime in on whatever lesson we had that day. We do that every Friday. Those are the two things that we do with our kids after practice that doesn't have anything to do with football, that I feel like builds the character of the player just as much as us trying to build the player itself.
The first one is Proverbs for football. Is that what it was called?
Yes. Yeah, Proverbs for football.
Like I can
And
get
the
that
other
on
one,
Amazon. It's still available.
Yeah, I think you can get it. It's like $10. I mean, it's like $9.99, and then the other one is it's called A Football Journey, and it comes in books, comes in manuals like this. And it's got different articles in it. Like one's talking about, like this one I just turned to is called Walking On. And they have different, after each one, you go to the website of footballjourney.com, and they have different videos up there that you can click that's a video dealing with that particular character development lesson that day.
And it's best to get it through that thing comes through the website.
Yep. It's just a footballjourney.com.
Okay.
And I mean, there's all kinds of stuff up there. I mean, it's really good stuff. We've, when they come in as a freshman, if I read one volume to the whole team of like volume one, year one, then year two, I read volume two, so forth and so on. So none of these kids ever get the same,
right.
they never get the same character development lesson.
Awesome. Well, that's fantastic, man. That's a lot of good information.
Yes.
Number 4. Now we're getting old enough that me and you can answer these kind of questions now. What do you know now that you wish you knew when you first got started?
Let's see. I wish I would have known that it's okay to sleep during football season, because and that every now and then you're gonna lose a game, and I took losing personal. I mean, growing up, I mean, my dad, coached me all the way till I got up to middle school. And if I made one mistake in the game, or if we lost the game, then when I got home, I was working on what I did wrong with him in the yard or at the basketball hoop or whatever. So Coach Robinson, who I coached for, said that the only man in America that's more competitive than me is my dad. So, that's a blessing and a curse. But early on, I couldn't deal with losses. I didn't sleep a whole lot. I stayed up all night watching film, trying to figure out what I did wrong, what we did wrong as a team, what can we do to better fix it. And, as I got older, then, you're going to lose every now and then. You're not going to win, every single game, unless you're Tommy Knotts. But, so I wish I would have learned that at an earlier age, that, sometimes you can learn more from a loss than you can from a win. And, early on in my career, those losses weighed on me heavily, and not just in my coaching career, but my relationships with the people I loved. I kind of shut everybody out for a few days after I lost, and nobody would want to come talk to me because I was in such a pissy mood. So I've learned to kind of, I still hate losing, but I've learned to kind of let that go a little bit, and know that that there's a lot more important things out there right now than just winning a football game on Friday nights.
That's good advice, man. You're gonna have some guys that want to reach out to you. What's the best way for a coach to contact you?
Probably my email address. It'll be nafootball7631@gmail.com. So capital, or doesn't matter if it's capital, but it's NA, like North Augusta, NA football, football being one whole word, 7631 at gmail.com. And I've got those. If coaches, if you guys want a copy of, the big board that we use for our draft and how we set up the draft and all the rules and all that kind of stuff and the way we do the competitions, I'd be more than happy to send that to you because, coaching is nothing but stealing. You get one thing from one coach and then you try to build on it and make it yours. Like the draft thing I got from Skip Holtz years ago when he was at East Carolina, and we just kind of took it one step further and it got a little bit better. The other thing that we did this year that I've never done, I sent you a Twitter link. We did a recruiting video for all of our 8th graders. So all of our kids that are 8th graders that played at our 2 middle schools, I did a recruitment video for each individual one. I got the coaches to not only send me their game tapes from this past year, myself and my coaches broke it down and evaluated all of our 8th graders. But I also got those coaches to write their name, what positions they played, if they played other sports, and then give me a little blurb about them, something personal that I can say, in that Twitter video link. And I've got all those kids' email addresses. So I do four Twitter videos a day from Paul Knox Middle and four recruitment videos a day from North Augusta Middle. And then I'd share those links and send the emails to all those kids. And, my principal said that he's got a lot of really good feedback on that. That's the first year that we've ever done that. Again, we're in this COVID season. So any way you can try to reach your kids and your future. And we're also setting up official visits for those kids to bring them on campus within the next month. We're not in school on Fridays. So we're going to bring their parents and the kids on campus in the next month with some of our underclassmen, going to give them a tour of our facilities, and then we'll bring them in, just them and their parents, send them to my office and give them a recruiting spiel just like they would at a college, and just kind of love on them, make them feel at home, and let them know that North Augusta football is going to be a force to be reckoned with in South Carolina in the next several years, and we hope that they can be a part of it.
Yeah, I was super impressed with that. You sent me one of those, and it was that one's stoled already, Coach. I'm stealing that one. Last thing, you got anything you like? You got the final word. Anything you want to talk about? Anything you want to promote? You got the final word.
No, I just I really wanted to talk about a football journey because it's been so good to me and to our kids and to our coaches and the Proverbs for football. And then there's 3 books that I don't read. I tell my wife I've got a ton of books behind me, but who has time to read when you're a football coach? So we invested in Audible. So anytime we're on the road driving or when I'm working out, I put my headphones on, I listen to a book. So probably the 3 best books that I've listened to, I stole a bunch of stuff from is one is Urban Meyer, Above the Line. Always been an Urban Meyer fan. I took some kids up to Ohio State when he was there for a recruitment trip. And between him and David Cutcliffe, they gave the best recruiting talk to kids I've ever heard. I was ready to go play for him. I knew I couldn't, but I was ready to go play for him. And then The Art of War by Sun Tzu. There's a guy on Audible that has mixed. He's pulled leadership strategies from The Art of War and from Machiavelli, and he's put it into a sports package and a business package, and that's one of the best books that I've ever listened to. Also, Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink, a Navy SEAL. I actually we did 4 lessons. The first 4 chapters of that book I did with my captains this summer. I sent you some of the PowerPoints, and that's another thing. If coaches want to reach out to me for those PowerPoints, I sent a summary of each chapter to the kids because I know the kids aren't going to read a full, but they only read when they're in school. So I sent them a summary of each chapter on Wednesday, and then on Friday we had a captains meeting through Zoom during the spring and beginning of the summer. And I pulled that PowerPoint up that I made based on that particular chapter, and I would interject some of the stuff for us for this year for North Augusta football. And I tapped into some of the stuff that I went through when I was back at Havelock about our our goals every year is not just to win football games. Our goal is to build a winning culture. And that winning culture starts with the four things we want to do. Is we want to be the best at everything we do. We want to dominate our rivals, not just beat them. We want to dominate them. And then we want to win our region every year, and then we want to win a state championship. And those are the four things that will stay the same at every school that I ever go to. And got a lot of that extreme ownership stuff from Jocko Willett from his book that I listened to. Really good. And and I didn't know if my captain's really paying attention, but then one of my captains came late one day to a practice, and at the end of practice, I always open the floor. Anybody got anything to say? And without being prompted, he said, "Coach, I got something to say." So he stood up and apologized to his team for being late, and that had never happened here before. They were allowed to miss practice. Whatever in different schools that they've gone to, and then they run them, and then they start them on Friday. Well, if you miss a practice for us or you're late, and however many minutes you're late, you've got 20 up downs for every minute you're late before you step on the field. And if you miss a practice, you're suspended. Unexcused missed practice, you're suspended for the first half. Second unexcused missed practice, you're suspended for a game. Third one, you're off the team. And that doesn't matter if you're the best player on the team or the worst player on the team. That goes back to the accountability piece. And our captains did a really good job with the extreme ownership. Just own everything in your realm. Own everything that you can handle. Don't point fingers at this guy, point fingers at this guy. Own it. And that goes with coaches too. I mean, we do our best not to use profanity at practice, but I'm the first one to say every now and then there's going to be a cuss word that's going to slip out of my mouth. And when that happens, I stand up in front of my team at the end of practice and I apologize to my team, and I do the push-ups that I require them to do when they cuss at practice. So, and that's one of the things that was lacking here was that extreme ownership. And I thank Jocko Willett for that book, because I've learned a lot from that. And I think it's filtered down to my coaches and my players as well. So those three books are really good books. If you haven't read them or listened to them, those three books are really good books that I think coaches need to listen to or need to read.
Yeah, two of those were two of my favorites. I haven't read the Art of War one that you're talking about, but I when was it? Was it last? I think it was last year before COVID. Urban was at the UNC clinic,
Right.
and were you there?
No, I wasn't there.
There was probably 1,000, 1,500 coaches in there, and Urban's talking, and I'm getting teary eyed listening to him. I mean, I tell everybody it was like a religious event in that he made you want to be a better coach. He made you want to be better. And it was just, it's just amazing, hearing him talk and the way he teaches and the way he presents a thing. And Above the Line's one of those. I've listened to it and read the book twice, and it's got all kind of notes and scratches and highlights in it. So I'm a big fan of that one myself. And also those Focus 3 guys, that's where he got that. The whole Above the Line thing was. So I try to follow those guys because they're impressive too. Well, buddy, you knocked it out of the park, man. I sure appreciate you doing this.
Hey, man, I appreciate you doing this for coaches. I went up and, there's so much information out there now. And then I went up and listened to, and watched a couple of the videos that you had with a couple of the other coaches, and it was done really well. I appreciate you doing this. And, our profession needs more things like this that's dealing with actual culture instead of just dealing with X's and O's. I mean, whoever's got the last pin is going to win that X's and O deal, but culture to be strategy, any day of the week in my book.
I'm with you, buddy. I appreciate you doing this. Thanks a lot.
I appreciate you, Joe. Thank you, man.